What's up, this is David, and today I wanted to make like a candid, video in front of the screen and kind of, I'm going off some of my notes here, but talk about like the trust recession. And is that really true? And do I really believe that is even a thing? So in my opinion, and just my, own 2 cents on this, right? I don't think it is. Like, I think it's something else. And I just like to call it like, market intelligence, right? So this whole idea of like a trust recession, in my opinion, what it really is, I think, is like you're looking for something to blame, right? Other than yourself. You're not taking ownership of the fact that maybe you're not doing a good job of like converting people. And then so like some marketer comes along and says, hey, we're going through like some trust recession. And then they try to like market to you from like this angle and then get you to believe this trust recession thing is real. And then point them to buy their product or something, right? So I think that's kind of what's going on. And then of course, like, people tend to be very bandwagony, and then they hop on this idea and then they believe it to be true. But it's just an idea. It's a perspective, I believe, that you've been marketed to. And I really believe that you got to take ownership of. If things aren't converting, like you shouldn't blame like a trust recession. Like, you should blame yourself. You should blame like, what am I doing wrong that's not, converting people? So what like these marketers have done, and I'm just going off the notes, is they have shifted your RAS to it, and now you tend to believe it. And RAS, it stands for reticular activating system. It's the focusing center of your brain. And there's that saying, what we focus on becomes our reality. Like, what we focus on becomes our reality. If you so focus on this trust recession thing as if it's real, and that becomes our reality, right? And a classic example of this, like, is if you are in the market to buy cars, let's say you're trying to buy like a Tesla car, then all of a sudden you're gonna see Teslas everywhere, okay? The thing is, like, the Teslas were already there, but then because your focus now shifted to it, it has become part of your reality, and you just pick it up everywhere now, right? Same thing with the trust recession idea. It was like the idea wasn't there, but then like once you heard it, now it has become part of your reality, and now it's, of course, like you see it everywhere now, right? So the saying goes, like, you don't believe what you see what you believe. So if you believe in this stuff, you're gonna tend to see it in reality. It's gonna become part of your reality. So another example I can give is like, let's say you're really hungry and then you're going to like there's a specific restaurant you want. Let's say like it's pho, like Vietnamese noodles, right? And then all of a sudden you're gonna notice that, hey, there's actually a lot of Vietnamese noodle restaurants in my town that I never noticed before. But because, again, like your focusing center is surrounding that idea, becomes part of your part of your reality, right? So if that's what you believe, then that is what you will see. Okay, so you got to question like these stuff. You got to question the status quo and tell yourself, like, is this really real? Thing is, I don't think so. Like, we're not in a trust recession, dude. Like think about this. Okay, so think about now, the 2020s. Right now it's 2026 versus the 1990s. Like, do you think it's easier to sell something now, or do you think it was easier to sell something in the 1990s? Dude, you know how hard it was in the 1990s to get somebody to buy something on the internet? You know what I mean? I mean, this is like the time when like dial-up internet was a thing, and people barely, understood the internet, let alone like, insert their credit card to buy something online. You know what I mean? Like, we have it so much easier now, like so much easier with the tools that we have, the technology that we have, the market intelligence that people now have. Like, people are just used to buying things online, thanks to like, Amazon and like many other websites. We are just used to buying things online, right? Think about like buying even like a Tesla car, like $100,000 car. We just buy online, you know what I mean? We are so used to the idea, and it's easier than ever. So in my opinion, it's not like there's a trust recession. It's just, again, you got to take ownership, and it's like, maybe it's your offer, like maybe it's your conversions. So that's what I believe. So like, again, like, which era was harder to sell on the internet? It was way harder in the 1990s and than it is in today's world. And I big ups to the people who pioneered this whole, like digital marketing stuff. They took arrows on the back for us, right? So the other thing I wanted to talk about is like the sales call paradigm is declining, in my opinion. And I'm sorry to say, salespeople, like, I don't want this to rub the wrong way. Like, salespeople and like, sales team, there will always probably be a place for you guys. Okay. So there will always probably be a market for like, the one-on-one sales thing. But I just believe it's just gotten too like, we've just hopped on this big bandwagon of like, we need to do one-on-one sales when there are just many different ways of selling stuff online, many different ways we can market. So an example that I give a lot is like Apple and Tesla, right? And these brands, they don't have a sales team to have you buy into the brand. Like there's no number for like you to call to purchase an Apple product. You know what I mean? They don't have like a book to calling. So does Tesla. They don't have a book to calling. They just have their stuff online, right? And not only are like big brands like this that do not have like sales call, like a sales process, but then many tiny brands also do this as well. So it's not about like the brand size. Okay, I know many people who I've personally bought from. They don't have a big brand. I just bought their product, their service, or coaching, or course, or whatever, because I just resonated with it. Because I like, oh man, this guy has some good stuff, man. I kind of wonder if they have like a coaching service, and like and some people typically do, and then I would buy without ever having to go on a sales call. In fact, I avoid sales calls. Like I don't remember the last time I ever went on a sales call, because I freaking avoid it, because I hate going on a sales call and being pressured to buy something, right? And I believe it's kind of like hypocritical in a way. It's like if you have a sales call process, and if you have like a sales team, like, do you like going on other people's sales calls? But then here you are trying to make other people go onto your sales call. It's kind of hypocritical in my opinion. But then, yeah, I bought many things from like these tiny creators that do not have big brands, and it's not like cheap stuff and either, right? It's like a couple $1,000s to buy some of these stuff, and I would buy it because I resonate with them, because I trust them, I believe them, and they did a good job of marketing their stuff, right? So I gave you my like stem cell story, right? Of like I was in the market to get stem cells, and a lot of like these stem cells company, they had like the classic, hey, book for a free consultation kind of thing, right? And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Right? I don't want to book a call, waste 45 minutes out of my day and stuff like that. But then there was a few companies actually that did not have that. They just had the price all right on the page, and this is like high ticket stuff, dude. This is like stem cells are not cheap. It's like 10, 20K packages. They had the prices right on the page, and then they had great marketing. They had like videos and like explaining like the whole process. The owner was like explaining like the story, the whole process, the procedure, and made me like trust them, made me resonate with them. Right? They had good marketing, and I didn't have like the sales call thing that you have to do. In fact, he straight up was like, I think I got on the phone once with him, and I talked to him for like 5 minutes, and he was like, okay, just text me, like, if you want to like proceed or whatever. And then I just texted him. Like, he closed me through text messages, and I just sent payments through text message and emails. But I didn't have to go on a sales call to be sold on like a freaking like 10K package for stem cells. You know what I mean? So this whole like sales call thing, like we don't need to do it. It's the same thing with like trust recession thing. Like it's an idea that we've been sold on, but we gotta like question the status quo, right? So I believe that now the marketing paradigm is it's uprising, and I really love to see it, because it's a more leverage kind of way to market your services. Like I don't know if you saw the video with Alex Hormozy, and I'll leave a link below if you haven't, but in the recent school games, he talked about how he was not doing the sales calls thing anymore. In fact, he's like making it a priority to not have a sales team at all, right? So he says something like in 2026, he's going to focus on selling without doing sales calls, right? Because he feels like it's a big like bottleneck. And then even Sam Ovens, he was like, you know, like I sometimes I don't want to go on a call. Like I'm ready to buy sometimes, you know. Like he gives the freaking like Tesla example. Like Tesla just has like a car you can buy straight on the page, like straight on their website, and with just a few clicks or a few taps on the phone, you have yourself a $10,000 or like $100,000 car. You know what I mean? Without ever having to interact with the salesperson. And so they're taking that idea and then now using it as a point of leverage. And so Alex, like he was doing like the math around this, right? And he was like, dude, in order for me to sell with a sales call, like he has to hire like 200 salespeople or something like that. It's ridiculous. And sales calls in a big way, in my opinion, again, just my opinion, it's a big bottleneck for many businesses, especially the coaching business. Okay, I believe there's many different ways to sell, and you can sell with leverage besides the whole sales call thing. And here's a crazy thing, right? So Taki Moore, he's like one of like the OG coaches in the space, and he recently started, you know, getting rid of his sales call. Like he got rid of his entire sales team because he sold with simple Google Doc offers, right? And the Google Doc offers was working so well that he fired his like entire sales team, right? And now recently he did 1.6 million a month without needing to do a single sales calls. And he sells now with straight Google Docs, right? A Google Doc offer. Or he used to do Google Docs, now he it's the same thing, but then he uses like Basecamp for like his doc offer, right? And he did all of this without ever having to do a single sales call, because now he realizes that you can sell by using leverage, right? And again, like the marketing paradigm is uprising. We're not, instead of being like so sales heavy, sales based business where like you have to do sales in order for your business to operate, right? How about we lean into marketing? Because once we lean into marketing, not only are we building assets that we can market again and again, it's a big form of leverage, because it's like build it once and then you can use that asset again and again. And trust builds in scale that way, so that we don't have to go on like a one-to-one call and like try to build like trust that way, by the way. So I believe it's more and more important to go from, you know, unleveraged to leveraged means, and to go from like a sales-based to like a marketing-based means, right? Because you're building assets, and having assets do the heavy work for you instead of relying on the sales calls. And that's how you scale trust. Okay, so that's how you get away from this sales recession kind of thing. You build and scale trust by being good at marketing. Okay, leaning towards marketing. Yeah, so that's how you shift your focus from oh no, there's a trust recession kind of thing to more of a trust surplus mindset. Because I believe like this whole like trust recession thing, it's like a limiting belief, dude. It's a limiting belief. It's a limiting mindset. But once you embrace, again, going back to the RAS, that idea where what you focus on becomes your reality. When you focus on, hey, no, there's not a trust recession, there's a trust surplus, and you taking ownership of that, then I believe you can do a better job, right? And not only can you do a better job, it's like you're starting with the man in the mirror, right? The woman in the mirror, whatever, because you're taking ownership of that, and you're blaming yourself. You have nobody else to blame but yourself, and you just sometimes gotta, you know, just to do a bit of a better job at like, you know, converting people and creating like trust assets so like people trust you better. And that's how we can get over this trust recession mindset. So if you are an established online coach and want to learn more about reimagining your high-ticket coaching in a totally new way, selling without sales calls, then please watch this video right here for more, and please subscribe for more stuff like this. I think the content I can provide is super fun and relatable and help you get more clients, more profits, and more freedom in your high-ticket coaching business, my friend. I will see you in the next one.